Hey besties! Welcome back to another episode of the Baddie Besties Podcast. My name is Alyssa.
And it's your girl Samira, aka Samski, and I know it looks a little different this week.
We're feeling a bit under the weather. If you are watching this, if you're listening, you'll have the same experience. But if you're watching us on YouTube, you know, we're in our jammies. We're not feeling the best. So a little virtual session.
Yes, we're gonna, it's gonna go back to regular scheduled programming soon, but Turks had us down bad. Like, we just came back and we were so sick.
Yeah, unfortunately. But, I have my tea right here in my Christmas mug that Samira hates because it's not Christmas time. But, I'm festive year-round, besties.
And I just have my Summer Fridays glass.
You gotta stay ready, just in case. I have mine right here, too. If y'all want to sponsor us, the vibes.
Period poo.
So today we're talking about sis.
So we are going to get down to the nitty gritty details of friendship. And since this is, of course, Baddie Besties, and we're besties, I think it's kind of, it's a good point in our just podcast to talk about friendship, what it takes to maintain a friendship, especially us. We're long distance besties, even though we're not too far. She's only a flight away, but how to maintain that, the icks of friendship, all things friendship.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I know, friendship back when I was in high school and even in college is way different than what it is now. So I feel like I'm excited to kind of share my thoughts on, friendship in your 20s and adulthood. It's very different. So we'll get into that in this episode. We're excited to have a little cozy vibe. Get your pajamas, get your blankets, get your tea, whatever you need, your hot chocolate, whatever.
I have my silk pillow here, period poo, for all the curly
Girls.
hair. Just hair in general. You gotta get your silk pillow, period. So I got it here, so we're all comfy.
Yay! Okay, I'll let you lead the way.
Yeah, so I'm going to start off with this question here, and I thought it was interesting. It goes, have you ever had a friendship that started off rocky but turned into something amazing? So what changed? What kind of was that starting point?
Do you have, that's interesting, a friendship that starts off rocky and turns into something? I feel like most of the time it's the other way around, right? Like you meet someone, you love them, you're excited, and then like you start to see other sides. You're like, I don't really fuck with this girl, or something happens, and then obviously the friendship, you guys go your separate ways or whatever. I need a second to think about it. Do you have anyone that comes to mind? Any friendships that started off rocky? Or even like relationships with people?
I wouldn't say it would start off rocky in a sense. It was more of like, maybe I didn't really know their vibe. And like, maybe I've seen how they've acted, especially in college. I think that's a really good indicator. Like, and I'm not going to name anyone's like names, but you could see like, okay, this is like their behavior and this is how they act. And I'm like, I don't really know this person is for me or they should be my friend. And what I could say was the turning point and what changed my mind is just obviously their personality and seeing how they mesh with me. There is that one friend that we had mutual in mind. I'm not going to say any names. I don't know if you're thinking what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking what you're thinking now. Okay.
But like, I was like, nah, this girl, she too much. There's no way I could be friends with this person. She's not my energy. I'm very classy. I keep it cool. And this person was just too much. But generally, after we got to know her and was around her, I was like, damn, she's a cool chick,
Yeah.
All the other.
Yeah, actually, I like the way that you framed it because originally I was thinking like, you don't usually start beefing with someone up front or whatever. Right. But the way that you framed it, like, yeah, I definitely could say that in my personal experience, I'm someone that keeps my circle really close and I don't really let people in that well or that easily, especially women. Well, men too. I don't really have too many males that I would consider friends because usually they're trying to talk to me one way or another. So I don't fully trust them. So I keep them at arm's length, but they're more so acquaintances in my life. And then when it comes to women, I've had my fair share of like friend problem betrayal situations, like jealous girls and stuff. So with that being said, I've always kind of I always kind of test my friendships. I I kind of rock them back and forth and kind of just see what the vibe is over time. I don't jump in and trust right away. But I would say back in college, when I met this one friend that we have in mind, I actually really liked her when I first met her. And then there were things that came up that I didn't resonate with, that didn't sit right with me. But I think you also have to take in the context of where you are in your life, right? If you're listening to this and you're in high school or you're even in college, it's a different experience than if you're out of college in your late 20s or even 30s and so on, right? I have a higher expectation of my friends now to like be adult and to have already learned certain lessons and know how to be a good person, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're in high school and you're in college listening to this, like you can only have so much of an expectation for a person to be a perfect friend, because that's the age where you're even learning how to be a perfect friend. You're learning who you are. You're facing different temptations. You're trying to balance, especially in college, like new friends and parties and trying to fit in and clothes and all this different things. You're juggling everything and you don't even really know who you are at this point. So I think, to sum it up, if you're younger and you're meeting someone, try to keep an open mind, especially at a younger age, with the vibe that you're getting. Like, give yourself and give them grace and take your time. Don't tell them your whole life. Don't tell them your whole life the first day, but give them some grace, because they're gonna need some time to find their way too. But if you're older, I still think you give them some grace, but it's different. We'll get into that, the difference in friendships when you're older.
I think it's important to also trust your intuition, because a lot of people, you could give them grace and they're just completely not your vibe, and it can end up biting you in the butt. So I think it's a balance between the two. Because some people are not for you.
Are not for you. Yeah. Some girls, I'm like, oh, off rip. I already know. I don't trust you. I don't really like you, to be honest. You're not really my vibe. Or they might meet me and they don't really like me. I'm not their vibe. Hey, to each their own. But I definitely agree, sis. Especially women's intuition. Like, if even if someone's like smiling in your face and they seem super nice, but inside you're like, something's off with this person, definitely trust that, because shit, that could save your life. No cap, it could save your life.
I agree.
Bitches out here, they be crazy sometimes. Yeah. They do.
And I remember like seeing this story back in the day, and especially it's hard in college, right? Like, especially like when you're coming freshman year, and the roommate situation, like you obviously want to be friends with your roommate. And a lot of the time, if you don't have those predetermined roommates, you have to go random. And that happens, and you try to be friends with them. And I remember hearing that story about the girl that had put like freaking Nair in their shampoo.
Yeah. Oh my God. Mean girl shit.
No, you understand. I was like, if that shit happened to me, bro, like
on site, I would have blacked out. Thank God was protecting me.
So yeah, we were protected by the blood of God, because ain't no way. But kind of on that note, what do you think is the most unexpected way you made a friend? Just in general, maybe. I have one, but maybe you could answer first.
The first thing that came to mind is like through guys that I've dated, actually. Like sometimes I'll just like meet someone, like it's like a cousin's girl or like a friend's girlfriend. I've made some really good connections just with like random girls that I met through my partner. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I haven't surprisingly like made a lot of friends through things like the gym, or like even like I've never done like a cooking class, but like, they go to cooking classes or like networking events. Like that hasn't really been
really
my vibe yet. The networking events is like a whole other thing that I want to get into more, but I really haven't made that many friends that way.
Believe it or not, I don't want to say strangest way, but one most unexpected way was actually how I met Divya. So I was studying abroad and I had went to it was like this club night for like just international students. And I was like, this party is mad lame. Like I'm not trying to stay here. And I was about to leave. I just stopped in the bathroom to just look at myself in the mirror. And she pulls me aside and she's like, I want to be your friend.
Oh, I
Like,
didn't
and I
know
was
the story.
about to leave. Yeah, she was like, she goes, I want to be your friend. And she's like, for real, get my information. Like, let's go out tomorrow. And then I was like, I don't know. I'm new in this country. Yeah. So I was at a club and she pulled
Oh,
me in the bathroom. And till this day, me and Divya, she lives in Singapore, um, we're good
wow. I
friends.
did not know that story, sis.
Yeah. I gotta
Oh,
sauce
well,
them
now
up.
I gotta start making friends in the bathroom then. I gotta start being like, I want to be your friend. Give me your contact.
Believe it or not, I feel like I make friends at random places, like
You
people.
do.
Yeah, I just kind of start talking and I get a connection. Like there's this girl, she was pregnant. Till this day, I talk to her. She was just next to me in Terrell on a plane ride to Vegas. Actually, I was going for a work conference and she started talking about her life. And till this day, like we chat on Instagram. So I have a lot of just random
That's great, Samira. I need that quality.
people that I
So
meet.
crazy. Samira is like that. Like we went to Turks. By the time she got out of the customs line, she already had like two friends. They all follow me on Instagram. Like she makes friends so fast. I'm honestly I used to be like that, and then I don't know what happened. Like I used to be a chameleon. I always used to pride myself on how I was like really great at pretty much what you just said. Like I can make a connection with anyone regardless of your age. I can make them like me really fast. And then honestly, I think it was like this is gonna get deep, but I think it's like with my parents, they had gone divorced, and
Yeah.
then it like started to change things. I remember in high school, I had like some falling out with some girls, and then I went to college, um, and I ended up leaving sophomore year. And I remember like I deleted my social media for like a year or two, and I like stopped wearing makeup. Like I went to this whole thing where I was like trying to like remove the mask because I felt like um I was smiling even though I was hurting, so
Yeah.
like I was like really good at being the person, like I had like the persona who could like smile and like make friends with everybody and like work a room, but then deep down like my family was fighting and like I was not that happy, but I could go into the world and compartmentalize really well. And then I think once I kind of went into college and I took a leave and I kind of went through a healing journey, I think I removed the mask. And I can still do that relatively well, but it's not second nature the way that it was before. Because I think it was a coping mechanism to like go into a room and not feel uncomfortable because I could make anyone like me and I could make friends and then I would feel safe. But now I don't think I have that same need. I know we just
Mm.
went on a tangent, but we were talking about I went on a tangent, but it's weird how that just came to mind for me.
I
Very
think that's an important topic, part of your healing journey. But I don't know. I think it's just always been a part of my personality,
yeah.
just who I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it.
I mean, I made friends with Samira in a cafeteria sophomore year, just like out the whim. Like I just liked her and she just liked me. And then obviously we didn't connect right away because I left. But yeah, it's always been, you've always had like the buzz, like
No, but believe it or not, though, I had met Sydney in a cafeteria, but I realized how I also solidify friendships is I'm quick to get on a flight. So believe it or not,
um,
with Sid, I had just met her right before spring break, and she's like, "I'm going to LA," and
you
so
went
one of
with me.
our friends, yeah, no, this is sophomore year. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to LA," and I never went to LA, and she's like, "Do you want to come?" And I had just met her, maybe like a week,
That's
maybe two before.
crazy. Yeah,
A
I
week,
like that.
maybe or two before, and then I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I bought a flight, and I went to LA, and then like that, we were peanut butter and jelly. My other friend Sabrina, she was in St. Croix, and we were like how I knew her was she was essentially her man and my man was on the same team. So I met her through that association. And we were like friends, but I wasn't close with her. And I saw her in St. Croix and I was like, oh wow, it's beautiful. And she's like, oh, pull up. Like she was
What?
already there. I literally bought that ticket that day and I went to St.
Oh,
Croix.
that's
So I
see, yeah, you're very like bold. You're very like bold, like and trusting. Like the fact that you would buy a flight and just like pull up and you don't even know like necessarily you don't even need all the information. You're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna figure out where
I'm
I'm
one thing
staying.
about me, baby. I'm a book a flight, baby. I'm a book a flight. I'm out here. I don't be catching no feelings, but I'm gonna be catching these memories, these experiences.
Good for you. I'm not like that. If I'm catching a flight with you, I need to have known you for like a pretty long time.
No, I don't. I guess for me too, like I got my own bread, so whatever happens, I'm gonna go and have a good time. So I think I'm that type of person as I try to make the most of it and I like to be spontaneous. Like a lot of my
You don't
trips,
get
like
scared? You don't get
we went
nervous?
no, I don't.
That's
When
crazy.
I don't know, like I for Dubai, for instance, like I booked it maybe a couple days before too. I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, pull up, and I was like, shit, fine, let's go.
Wow. I love that. You're fun. She's fun. Where are we going with Samira? Where are the Baddie Besties going? We're gonna have to book a trip.
I've been trying to tell you, but you be too afraid. And I'm like,
I
let's go to
do.
I
I
gave
love
you
to travel, but
money.
I'm not as spontaneous as you when it comes to travel, but I can stay away longer.
Yeah,
Like
I
once
don't.
I'm out and having a good time. I don't get homesick, but it takes a little bit for me to like make the decision to go. Unless I know you and I'm like I'll have to like really know you and trust you for me to like want to book something.
So with that being said, what does it take for you to maintain friendship? Especially now, like we went from being college besties and
Yeah.
triplets, and now we're in our adulthood. What would you tell, the baddies and the besties, what would you tell them that maybe are having conflict transitioning into adulthood, how they could maintain these friendships?
I think the
Um,
two biggest things for me are like communication and transparency. I think you need to check on your friends. You need to check on your friends and you need to check on them. Like, it doesn't have to be super often, but I'd say any friendship that you're trying to nurture, especially once you're out of a space like college where you're going to see them every day or every week, like call your friends, text your friends, check up on your friends. And the other one is transparency. Like, be vulnerable with your friends. Like, show them who you are. Create a space for them to feel safe and show you who they are. Because for you to have a relationship that means something for you, or at least for me, a relationship that means anything to me, I feel like I need to kind of know something about you, or I need to like have spent enough time with you to feel like I really know your heart and your soul. Honestly, like for me to give a fuck, to be actually honest. For me to really see you as a friend, because like I said, I don't keep people close. I can have a million acquaintances and I'm not saying I don't care about them, but for me to really care, for you to pull at my heartstrings, for me to like risk things for you or pick up the phone at 2 in the morning when you call, we need that communication and like the transparency, the openness. I need to see who you are and show you who I am, and then I'll really feel like we're friends. That's my
yeah,
piece of advice, especially once you're out of school. It changes
I
entirely.
think my number one biggest piece of advice is, and since we're at home and we're Zoom, maybe I should show them Sushi because Sushi's trying to bark here. Come here, Sushi. Hi guys, I'm going to introduce you guys to Sushi because she wants to bark, and it's maybe because she's hearing Liz. Um, ugh.
This is her cute doggy.
Hi, this
For
is
those of
my.
you who don't
She's
see her, tell everyone
relaxed.
what she looks
Let
like.
me just get her to relax. But my number one piece of advice is friendship takes work, just like any relationship.
Yeah.
And if you don't put the work, I don't think you can expect to maintain any friendship. And I'm not saying, oh, you need to be calling them every single day, but I think there's got to be some sort of effort on both ends and it needs to be reciprocal, period. Like, because you can't have one person calling up or doing all the work and then the other friend isn't.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the same thing as like a relationship. If you're dating a guy and you're only the one calling him all the time, you're going to feel some type of way. He needs to reciprocate the energy. Y'all need to have a balance on both ends. So
same energy, babes.
it's the same. It's the same. I mean, honestly, when I was younger in high school, this was actually difficult for me. I had a falling out with one of my best friends ever, because I was, well, there was a lot of reasons for the falling out. So what I'm saying next isn't the reason, but one of the ways that I was back then was very like, I was very like more like aloof. Like I kind of was like, if you're my friend, you're my friend. You don't need me to like be there all the time. That's kind of how I used to be. It kind of felt like, for lack of a better term, like you're not my man. Why are you getting mad at me for not like wanting to hang out or like not wanting to talk? I still feel like I need my friends to have the understanding that if like I'm in a mood or something, like I'm just in a mood and have the understanding. But I pick up for my friends more often. I let them know if I'm in a mood now. Like I call them, and if they're in a mood, like I'll support them and I'll let them vent, and like I'll be there for my friends in a different way than I was before. And I think that just takes time to learn, right? When you're in high school and college, like I said in the beginning of the episode, you don't even know yourself that well. Like you're learning what it is to be a friend. You're learning what it is to be, a good daughter, a good, sibling, a good cousin, a good girlfriend. If you're even have a partner, then right, you're still so young. Even in high school, like you have to go through life to learn experiences and to get better at just being a better you. So I love that
And
advice, Samira. I think that's valid. It's gonna take work, and that's something that you have to accept. If you don't have any friends or any good friends, it might be because you're not putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, or you're not putting in the work.
it takes two to tango, baby.
It takes two to tango.
Uh,
And it can be fun.
I guess
It can be fun.
it definitely is fun. I just think in general, as I'm learning in my adulthood friendship, especially since we're all in different states and different locations, like if we don't prioritize each other, it's really hard to maintain a friendship. And that's just me being honest, being blunt, being frank. That's what it takes to maintain it.
Absolutely.
But I guess to just bringing, like, just looking at that, what does friendship mean to you? Like, what does it, how do you value friendship?
Friendship is one of my favorite things in the world. I'm so grateful for. I think because I've had lots of experience where I let go of friends that I felt like weren't serving my greatest and highest good, and I've had bad experiences. I put up a lot of walls, which I've talked about before. I put up a lot of walls against girls and women, and this is something called like the sister wound, something that I work with my clients on as well, and something I've heard a lot about from other women. Like the sister wound, it's essentially like being hurt by other women, whether it's an actual like sister by blood or girlfriends, or maybe in high school or in college, like bad experiences, best friend breakups. It's a wound in your heart that like makes you close off from other women or makes you not fully trusting. And I really had a really deep sister wound that Samira actually was really pivotal in helping me heal. And now I have so many beautiful women in my life, Samira and other girls in my life that I really love, that I really trust, that I feel so blessed that they think of me and they call me and they want me around, and they're excited when I'm back in town and they're salty when I'm away. I travel and I do my own thing a lot. So when I'm away for a while, they're like, damn, I wish we could hang out more. I wish we could, do this or do that. Or I wish you were here for this or that. I think I value that so much. Like the fact that there's women out there that think of me and care about me and they want me in the circle, and I can trust them. I just love that so much. I remember in the beginning of 2024 in January, I had a conversation with one of my best girlfriends. Her name's Cassidy. Shout out Cass. And I told her one of my goals this year was community building. And I spoke to her about friendship and how I was, building this community online, but I really felt like I was missing some of the community that I wanted in person. Especially with like girlfriends and networking and just like people in my life. I wanted to expand that area. And I went to church for one of the first times in years back in like November, December, I think December. So come January, my pastor had said something about having like a full life. And I just, was reflecting in January and I was like, this year, like my business, all the stress it caused me, I was like, I'm going to put it aside for a little bit. Like, I want to have a full life. I don't want my whole life to be just about business or money. I want friends that light me up. I want a relationship, a love relationship that lights me up. I want safe love. I want the money and I want the business and I want the community and I want the girlies and I want this and I want that. And friendship has just been such a beautiful thing to have. And to have even Samira, my bestie that I literally talk to every single day, someone I can, be I'm my full authentic self with. I can call her and cry and complain about anything. She can agree or disagree. She can give me advice. She can cheer me on, whatever it is. Like just having pretty much like another sister is unmatched. Friendship is really unmatched with the right girls by your side. It's really next level.
Yeah, I think you said that really perfectly and eloquently. I guess for me, how I value friendship or how I see friendship, it's kind of like another lifeline for me. Although I can make a lot of friends and like you can put me anywhere. I literally say this like, God forbid, but if I had to go to jail or prison, child, just know I'm gonna have friends in there, okay? Like I'm gonna be like, you want some noodles? Like I could be in any environment. Just believe I'm gonna make some friends. But what I can say is I'm not very close to very many, like in terms of like how deep I will go and share my life. And the people that are close to me, and that's why I use the word lifeline, because the people that I see as like very, very close friends that I could tell them anything, because I may be able to make friends easily, but it's hard for me to really share my life and just have that very deep connection. Those people really mean a lot to me. They're like my safe haven when I can talk about things, vent too. So friendship to me is family. Friendship is just like a safe haven where I can just say it how it is. And if I need a shoulder to cry on, because I don't really do that with a lot of people. Even Terrell, like for my man, it took a lot to get to that point to really fully trust him. And I think it's that same level when it comes to friendships. So I love all my riders. This is one of them, but
it's next level.
It means a lot. Next level.
It's next level. I haven't had this in a while. Like all of the beautiful girls in my life, like when I reflect on it, I think back to the times when I didn't have it, or when shit hit the fan, or when people were weird, or even when I had a single at some point when I was in college. And I remember we had Marathon Monday and I was like inside and everyone was like out with their friends, and I had people that I could call. Like I was in groups and stuff. Like I had people that I could go hang out with, but I didn't feel super like connected and like trusting of anyone. Like I didn't feel like there was anyone I was excited to call per se, that I felt like really wanted me there too. But now I'm definitely in a place where I have a bunch of beautiful women that, like I said, they think of me and they want to call me, and I think of them and I want to call them, and like we celebrate each other. And it's just, like you said, a lifeline. It's really unmatched. Like I haven't felt that for
a while. It's a beautiful thing.
It's love.
But with off of that is with friendships, let's say there's conflicts or disagreements with the besties and with the friends, like how would you handle the conflict, and do you have any memorable stories that you can think of where there's some conflicts where the tea or the pot has stirred?
That got handled well?
It didn't have to be handled well, but maybe like
some tea.
You were able to.
Well, I'm drinking.
You were able to kind of like resolve it, because I think a lot of times too, like a lot of females, like they'll be in close relationships and maybe a male gets into it and that ends up breaking the friendship. Like maybe some advice to the besties on how to handle disagreements. And then maybe if you got one to share, babes, let them know. They want to know the tea, babes. You're drinking that tea.
I am. Well, my best advice for friendship conflict is two things. First, you need to let it die down. Like you need to let your feelings die down a little bit if you're someone who's like angry. Like if you're gonna like be angry, if you're not gonna hear, you're gonna hear, but you're not gonna listen. Like you know yourself, you know how you're gonna act if you're in a conflict with someone. So if you don't think you're gonna act in your greatest and highest good and the best you can't show up as the best you. Wait a little bit and see how you feel. Reflect on it a bit. That's first, and then when you're ready, have a proper conversation with your friend. Hopefully they're receptive and they want to have a conversation too. But I really don't do the best in friendships that kind of like feel some type of way and like just push it in the pocket and then it like blows up or like come down, come 2 years down the line, like they are low-key haters now because they have all this thing in their back of their mind that they never communicate about. So now they don't really fuck with you, but they pretend to be your friend. Like that happens a lot. I think if you have a problem, if your friend hurts your feelings, if like you feel insecure about something, if something happened, for me, I don't care what it is. Like you could talk to me about anything. My friends, you name it, like whatever it is, you can talk to me about it. And I'll always, receive it with love and I'll tell you what I think. That's my biggest advice. Like figure out how you feel and then communicate it with love, communicate it with a filter of love.
Yeah, I love that.
In terms of tea, I mean, let's hear what your advice is and we'll see if we have some time for tea.
Okay. My advice with disagreements is just being honest. Just being honest with how you feel, because I have a tendency, and this is something I think I have worked on completely, but I have a tendency, like, once I feel something, I keep it in, but
Yeah.
I be ghosting people. I will just be like, I just will not talk to you and I'll just drop you as a friend. And that's really bad. Like, that was something I realized I did in college and I take accountability for. And I realized I did that to some of my friendships in like high school or like my childhood friendships, even though there wasn't any beef, but I just kind of go ghost. So that kind of does go hand in hand with also like friendships take work. Like you can't just fall off or just not maintain it at all. But I think if you're just honest and read the room, and there's a way to say things too. Like you don't have to be rude about it if there's a disagreement. Like you can land something without having it be a blow. So it's the way you word things and just being conscious of that, because at the end of the day, we're all humans and we all have feelings, and you just have to keep that in mind. I always say kill them with kindness, but genuinely, like, we have feelings. You're human. You can talk to this person. At the end of the day, even if you're angry with that friend, like you have love for that friend. So just find that love, even though in the moment it may be deep, deep within. Find it. Find them. Why? Find them why. Sit down, sushi. Find them. But really quickly, there's this quick question I just wanted to ask you really quick. And you can maybe think of the tea too. Is like, if you could magically solve one common issue that often arises in friendships, what would it be? I maybe you can tie that with a tea if you can think about it.
Yeah, okay, here we go. I think the thing that comes to mind is like is envy. I think envy and jealousy. If I could solve that, I think envy and jealousy is one of the biggest reasons for friendship breakup. One of the biggest reasons for betrayal.
Giving you the mic. What are you talking about? What tea is this? I need this tea.
So, all right. Let's see if I could keep this short. So I had a friend back, the friend I mentioned earlier, one of my old best friends in high school, and we ended up breaking up sometime in college, friendship breakup. And I would feel like she was like low key like jealous of me or envious because she would do things like count all of the guys that were looking at me when we were out. Like we'd go out together and she'd literally like count the guys that looked at me and that didn't look at her. And I wouldn't even be paying attention to none of these guys. Like, I'm not interested in, I'm with you. I'm not doing anything. Or if I say I was interested in a guy and I was like dancing with them, like she'd get mad if I was dancing with them. Like she would compare like our bodies and our outfits, and she would say that she like, you know, she would share her insecurities and stuff with me, and I would always empower her and tell her like she was a fucking badass, she was gorgeous, she was a badass, she was gorgeous, she was one of my favorites, she was my best friend. Like I loved her, I thought she was so dope, and she thought I was so dope. But I felt like one of the things that took us apart, I was actually the one that ended the friendship. Unfortunately, it was during a time where the guy that she was dating at the time, she was going through a breakup. So I have to take accountability that maybe it wasn't the best time for me to end the friendship, and I could have been more empathetic about my timing with that, or even communicated more about it. I was more on that, like, I'm a cancel, I block. If I feel like you're not a good friend, or I'm feeling something that's weird, or I'm really not having fun with you anymore, I'll just like stop talking to you. So our friendship ended. It wasn't a great ending. And I would change how I went about ending the friendship. And honestly, I think it could have been salvaged if I had the conversation that I'm telling you guys now. Have a conversation. But I had never told her how I felt. I just had a bunch of experiences where I felt like she was envious and jealous of me and my light. And like one thing now that I love about my girls, they let me shine my light as bright as light gets. And I let them shine theirs, and I want them to shine. And it's so important to, you know, handle your own like insecurities, your own stuff, like build your self-love. Huh?
I'm gonna project a little bit just for what you're saying really
Yeah,
quick.
please.
I think the biggest thing just for
What do you think,
females,
Samira?
I know, now I have the mic. I was like, this is actually hilarious because you're sitting here with this mic and you're for real holding it like a mic. So that was hilarious. But on some real, what's for you is never gonna pass you. So your friend being all jealous, like what we've learned, especially as our group of girls, like that guy over there may not like me, but likes Liz. Like everyone has their own type. So for her to be a hater and doing all that, like her man was
a hater, low-key, like
that was crazy. Like, babes,
I'm not counting the guys that are looking at me. I'm here with you. I'm looking for some tequila shots. Like, I'm here to catch a vibe.
she
You
was
know, if there's one guy I like out there who's giving me attention, you know, and I think he's cute, I might talk to that one guy, but I don't care. Like, you're bringing it to my attention over and over and over again. It's not like it happened one night. It was like, it happened so often that it was just very annoying. You know, it just felt like, I just felt like she was so great, but she couldn't see how great she was. And she just projected her like insecurities onto me and made me feel like I had to dim my light. I could only deal with that for so long before I was just kind of like, all right, this is.
Personally, though, like in my experience, and we just have to wrap up really quickly, though. In my experience with my friends, we have a lot of big personalities. And I have learned if you sit here mute and not telling you how you feel, well, there's always going to be a problem. So I think as long as you can, like you said, communication is a key to all. And for all of my girlies out here, my besties out here that maybe are struggling to maintain your friendships or make friends, like put yourself out there, you know, surround yourself with people that love you, that celebrate you. You don't want to have haters. Like that one friend list that was around, she clearly wasn't a hater. She was clearly a hater and she wasn't for her.
Get a big heart.
The people that are for you are going to celebrate you, are going to push you, that are going to bring your names up in rooms that you're not even thinking about. Like that's just the type of people I surround myself with, and your people are out there, besties. And as you know, we may stir the pot.
It's gonna get hot.
But trust.
You just hit the jackpot. Okay, bestie. We love you. Thank you for being our friend.
Say bye, Baddie Besties. See you next week.
Love you.
And hopefully we will be back in person. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.